Well, there we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I am super excited today. This is the very first of many, very first videocast podcast of All In with Love Playground Conversations, where I sit here with my best friend, little Jimmy, and we have some amazing conversations with some epic human beings, bringing in insights of the inner child, insights into their work in the world, and how we all live and breathe this let's make the world a better place and let's lead with love. So super excited. I'm super privileged to be here with today's guest, who I am going to introduce. She's a champion of consciousness. She's a speaker, keynote speaker, author, coach, facilitator, spiritual gangster, a lover of life and living with a higher, striving for a higher self and self-actualization. And she has impacted many human beings around the world. So Bliss Prema, how are you today? Welcome.
Thank you so much, James. It's such an honor to be here with you. Thank you so much.
Amazing. We for everyone out there too, Bliss and I have been kind of mutual colleagues for a bit, but we really never connected. And just as the universe always shows its magnificent way, we kind of connected via my book journey, and then all of a sudden she's on a book journey, and then she's coaching and I coach, and we both have asthma, and it's just one of these magical things that happen when we just keep our eyes open. So, Bliss, I am excited today. We're going to dive in. I want to talk consciousness. I want to talk inner child with you. I know you have a big program that's unveiling to your community coming up. We're going to talk about that. We'll talk about my book too, because I know you've been involved a little bit in some of the storylines in terms of sharing with you. But first, let's share for those of you out there that don't know Bliss. Bliss, this is you. Let's hear what makes you the epic human that you are.
Oh, thank you so much, James. Yeah, I mean, I think the most deeply honest response to that is that I actually feel that I was designed with purpose to be here at this time, to basically be a transmitter. On Facebook, I use the term source channel. And just to basically transmit new ways of being, I guess really would be the most direct way of saying it, in that, there's a lot of pain and suffering that happens here in this reality. And I get transmitted information and frankly, like an entire healing evolutionary system back in 2012. And so even my astrological signs have all been specific so that I would be here to help bring in more positivity, more love, more consciousness at this particular time. So it's a real honor. Everything about me just loves what I do. I am so passionate about it. And so work doesn't actually feel like work. I love sitting down at my desk. I love creating programs. I love coaching people. So it actually works out really well. In the process, it hasn't necessarily been the most easy life. I've been through pretty much every experience imaginable. But the way that I've been designed and wired is that I'm able to take real life experiences and analyze it and create a better way. And then I take that better way and I create tools, and then I implement it into the coaching and into the programs.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You mentioned pain and suffering, which is something that does seem at times maybe overwhelming in today's age, and in terms of what everyone's dealing with. Everyone's dealing with something. And I also know I want to talk about consciousness. So I'm curious to know is, you being a champion of consciousness and understanding that, is that the way to minimize pain and suffering for ourselves and for the collective whole?
Well, I think that pain and suffering has its place, right? I think there is a level or a degree of consciousness or awareness that we can glean about ourselves through those moments. And it is usually in those moments when we're down on our knees and waving the white flag that we're like, okay, wow, I really am accessing something
Mm,
with deep within myself. But I just feel that what I've learned, and as a coach, I'm sure you know this as well, is that what happens is that when it goes unresolved, when it goes unprocessed, then it goes into a repeat cycle, and so then it becomes a repetitive pattern, and then it just feels that that is the way that life is, and
mm,
people become complacent with pain and suffering, thinking that, okay, well, this is just the way my life is. And yet, really, like, if you look at the reality that we're in, it is so exceptionally beautiful. And I really do believe that we originally came here in order to have all of our senses pleasured. It is such a beautiful experience. And so when we actually are willing to step into that introspective awareness, we can evolve and grow away from the lesson and the growth that pain and suffering originally may have been there to offer us, and to heal, and then to just be able to experience happiness and pleasure and all the beauty that this reality really has in spades.
yeah, I talk about that a lot with the work that I do, and you know, in the inner child world too, for me, and with my book, I talk about these symphonic moments,
Mm,
and it's truly those moments of um, such deep emotional, like the tapestry of emotion is so rich and multifaceted and coming at us in high definition. It's such, for me, I've labeled it this because being a movie guy, it's those moments of complete bliss, pun intended, but truly,
mhm.
complete bliss of being, of just oneness. And I look for those symphonic moments every day, and reconnecting to little Jimmy has allowed me a lens to be better attuned to, like an antenna to kind of sniff it out and maximize those moments. And my wish for people is to realize that those moments are out there. They are out there for all of us. And yes, as you said, I think what I love what you said is the pain and suffering is a catalyst for growth. And at some point, though, we got to take that growth and then move into this next stage, this next level of existence. And what that is for each of us is what we have to discover.
Totally. And I love how you reference little Jimmy, as your inner child, and also to that younger version, past self version. And in a lot of the work that I do, really accessing and remembering that version of who we were when we were younger. Because what I hear over and over and over again in all of my coaching sessions is that when we come through, and I know this to be true for myself, and I'm sure you do as well, when we come through, we are as close to source as we can possibly be. And so for many of us, we actually remember what that feels like. And I mean, for me, I remember it was a feeling of like um, indomitable effervescence. I love the word that you use. That's so beautiful. Can you say it again? The
Oh,
symphonic.
symphonic moments.
Sonic, beautiful. I love that. I want that one to lock in. But yeah, when we're able to track that version of ourself, we're so close to our source self. And
Mm,
our source self is the one that hasn't had to have any of those experiences yet. The trauma, whatever 3D training that came in and altered us hasn't occurred yet. And when we can really tap into that part of ourself, symphonic. And yes, it is a beautiful gift to be able to walk through a day and tap into that version, that aspect of self, which is what your book is about, right?
Mm. Yeah, it is. It's about reliving some of those moments to then help me remember the beauty of that, of what you just spoke, and then, getting back to that in terms of present life. How do I walk forward each and every day with little Jimmy by my side? You know, deprogrammed, if you will, and getting back to that purity that I feel children innately have because they are uncorrupted by X, Y, and Z. Truly.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, in my upcoming program in the Initiate Circle, I run it every year, but what we talk about, what we start off with is just an understanding that we have come here to this reality with purpose for exactly the X, Y, and Z. That is part of the program. It's part of the experience. And so I love that we're able to come through as our complete source self and then start going through the training. And I really do believe that we have pre-programmed almost the experiences that we're going to have, the catalyst moments that help us excel and evolve to our next levels. But yeah, I call it a source playground because it has all of the perks, but then it also has all of the training ground as well too.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mhm, mhm.
And we'll go back to inner child in a moment, but let's talk about with the work you're doing. Um, Maybe just share some insights. We can talk your program too, but and also like how do you guide people on their own path to step towards that consciousness?
Mhm.
What are some of the things that you do?
Well, I really encourage everyone to. Uh, I'm really fond of quantum physicists and the holographic theory. To date, it is one of the main theories that is the most plausible explanation of how we're even here in existence.
Hmm.
So, one of the first things that I actually invite everyone to do, and I practice this on a daily basis, is just imagining, and even if it's just a thought experiment to begin with, but just that this is a holographic experience. So that's one of the first things is knowing that we've come here with purpose. So we have designed this reality, and we have chosen to be here, and then that way something really seems to shift in us quite radically when we can just take accountability for
Hmm.
even being here in the first place. So that's one of the first things that we do. And in the same way that you walk the path with little Jimmy, and you have that consistent bridge, that consistent connection to the innocence and the purity and the source self of your younger self. Um, I like to do the same thing with that thought experiment or that understanding that this is a hologram. And so
Hmm.
then every day I'm just looking at what is coming into my reality. Is it a teacher? Is it a lesson? Is it a pleasure? And really formulating how I respond to my reality rather than reacting to it, and thinking that something's happening to me. So there's just a shift in my consciousness that happens when all of a sudden I'm taking real responsibility for what's coming into my immediate reality. So I like to walk the path with that kind of an understanding, as well as knowing that my higher self, so the version of me in the future that is older, wiser, even more experienced, as well as my younger self, my inner child, my small self, source self, that the three of us actually can walk the path day by day in this experience And then there's a multi-dimensionality that starts to happen.
Mm.
And I'm accessing higher self, present self, and past self.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So, and then obviously, is this, I'm sure the journey is unique and individualized for the person that you're facilitating. Uh, what's the scope of time on a journey like this, roughly, if you were to say?
Like, do you mean in a lifetime?
Well, in terms of like, working with you
Oh,
and understanding this and then stepping into maybe a more self-actualized state of being, and obviously it doesn't go from here to here, it's probably milestones, incrementalism of growth, things like that.
hmm.
Just to give an overview. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that there's so many beautiful gateways into consciousness, and for
Mm.
example, your book that you've written and launched. Congratulations on that. That was just a few weeks ago now. Yeah.
Thank you.
But yeah, and I have a forthcoming book as well. But it's having the gateway into getting off of auto response,
Mm.
automatic living. And I think it's so easy to get stuck in that track where we believe that we just come here to go to school, find a partner, get married, get a job, have children, retire, then pass away. Like that, it sort of seems like the steps are already laid out.
Right.
And so there's a way to live where you're just on that particular track, and a lot of people are actually just okay with that, and that's fine, and that's great for them. And then there are other people that had a knowingness, um, a sense that everything is not as it seems. And a lot of people, including myself, and I do believe yourself as well, we were children, we were teens, and our children and teens that are alive right now, they all have this same sense that there's just something more. And so I think that it's like the record has tracks, right? And so you can bump onto the next track, and that's what awareness is, and what consciousness is. And so what I've been, um, I guess, uh, requested or directed to do in this lifetime is just to create different programs so that when people feel that stirring, when they want to jump onto a different track and experience life in a different way or a new way, they can. So our books are examples of that. That's the gateway of accessing a different aspect of self. And these different aspects of self are so rich.
Mm.
Little Jimmy. He has so much to offer. And then in the book that I'm writing, it's I've got little tools, evolutionary tools embedded in, so that if you have negative thoughts, how do you expand from the next level of being constantly caught in negative thoughts to having useful and positive thoughts, like stuff like that.
Mm.
So I have programs that are 8 weeks long, where you can take one aspect of your life. This is actually it right here. It's the conscious evolver.
Nice.
Yeah, and you can just take one aspect of your life and focus on it and bring it to its evolved place, its higher purpose. And then I have programs that are 3 months long, and then I have programs where you can actually become a consciousness coach. So I think, to answer your question, like it begins with a willingness, a desire to want more in
Mm.
life, and then
Mm.
and then from there, the world is our oyster.
I love that. And I just want to share with you again, because I know you have not read my book. And so I use the record analogy quite, quite a bit
No way.
in the journey of me, in terms of stuck in certain grooves on the record of life, and yet each one is an element or a suite of the overall symphony of life. And it's interesting because
Of course.
I know, right? I've seen that, and it's just interesting because it starts out with like the main title of Little Jimmy, and then it kind of goes to different grooves. Ultimately, though, as I'm moving through in my journey to step into full ownership, as I say, and full on acceptance and awareness, which is what you were talking about. It was getting to a certain number of grooves where I got back to the main title theme, which was Little Jimmy as a middle-aged man, and that kind of the way that truly a lot of the classics, the symphony style of even, I always talk about Ode to Joy of Beethoven, right? The Symphony Number 9. It's that reoccurring theme that comes back. And for me, it was getting back to the purity of self, of my younger self. And now there's still like an outro that's happening, but it's a combination of Little Jimmy and James outro, right? On that record of life. So I love that analogy. And I just find it very humorous that, of course, we're speaking the same language, right?
It's no surprise, though, at the same time.
Right? It's not. I think when we're in the world and the space that we are, we laugh about it, and because it's not a surprise. But it just has to, we have to laugh about it because it's just like, yep, okay, there's another one. Yep, all right.
Right.
So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. And for everyone out there, that's just a great analogy to really look at life and look at growth in terms of that grooves on a record. I love that. Love that. So Bliss, tell us about this upcoming program that you are launching. I know you've been working on this for a bit. You're pulling a James Gardner with a mad scientist, creations, scribbling the Post-it notes, doing your thing, getting this all ready to go. What can we look forward to coming up here? I believe at the end of the month.
Yeah, September 22nd. So it's actually the 7th one that I've run. They're annual. And even just how it came through was really amazing. I had a dream state where I went to the pyramids in Egypt, and I had my soul weighed by Anubis. And then the next morning I had like in my brain a blueprint. And I went rushing to a coffee shop, and I'm typing out madly. There's the mad scientist. And I had sat down at my laptop at 2:22. And by the time I was finishing writing it, it was 3:33. I heard somebody's name that I knew. She came over, she read it, and she signed up. So within like a minute, I had the first initiate. So it really came from another space and time. And what it does is it initiates us into an accelerated consciousness. So where our trajectory for consciousness might be a gradual rise as we do the work, this one is the trajectory is quite intense. It includes sobriety. So walking the path without any drugs or alcohol. And first of all, what that does is it really brings all of the information isolation, like directly into us of what exactly is going on. Whereas in maybe normal reality, we'll reach out for shopping or alcohol or drugs or sex or whatever it may be. So what we're doing is we're going so deeply internal in this. Along with that, the sobriety, we also have a lot of spiritual techniques, a lot of mental fortitude training, and then there are also 4 tenets that we all participate in. And so even the way that those 4 tenets were transmitted to me were really powerful and special. And it really just blows my mind that the information always comes through accurate and complete for me. And then what I do is I'll I'll insert it into my own life to test it and to make sure that it is efficient and accurate. And I'm always blown away at how incredible it is. And so we also follow the Conscious Evolver, which is that 8-part system that was downloaded to me, transmitted to me back in 2012. So there's a real redesigning happening. We deconstruct all the old patterns, all the limiting beliefs, all the ways that just no longer serve us. And then we really learn how to tap into that internal wisdom, that divine inspiration, and then we through some activations, we really become a whole new version of us. And so this one being the 7th one in 2022, it came to me that it should be a master because 22 is the master number. And then I was sent instructions to reach out to some people that I have been following and consider friends, guides, and teachers on Facebook, and to invite them to join in. And incredibly, every single one of them said yes. So there are now, for this year's, there are 11, which is also a master number, 11 master teachers that will be dropping in and sharing either activations or their wisdom, similar to what you and I are doing here. And yes.
Wow. I saw some of the co-facilitators, some of these people, and yeah, it's quite an amazing group of men and women that are aligned with you for this. So I know it's going to be epic and impactful, and to be of service, and I think that's great. So for our community out there, Bliss, how can they find out more information about not only you, but about this program too? Where can we direct them to?
Thank you so much. If they go to consciousevolver.com or even blissprema.com, both go to the same website.
Excellent. Okay. consciousevolver.com, blissprema.com. Excellent. Well, I know that is going to be an amazing thing for you. This is your 7th one. So I look forward to hearing all about it. And maybe we'll get you on to share some of those experiences with your tribe and your takeaways. That would be great.
That'd be lovely.
So Bliss, in a couple minutes that we have left here, I just want to dance with you, do a little inner child dance, if you'll indulge me. So what's the playground that Bliss wakes up to every day?
Literally or figuratively?
Both.
I really, really love dreams. I think the dreamscape is so magical. And I really love spending time, whether it's with myself or with my children, just going over dreams and what the dreams have meant. I think there's a lot of keys and messages that are embedded into our dream time. So anytime where I get to go back to sleep, I think that's always magic. I have a beautiful home. Finally, it's taken me quite a few years of working with some patterns that really needed to be healed. But I love my home, and I call it the Sun Palace. And right now we have 5 kittens. So it really, my playground really does. It's birds singing. It's that cup of tea. It's I have a non-sexual life partner, Crystal, who we literally talk every single day, sometimes for an hour. So that's we just do our internal exploration work, and we get so much done just in the mornings. So yeah, I would say my playground is it's just really tapping into what is known as 5D frequency and 5th dimension. And in fifth dimension, there's not a lot of fear. It's just all love. And then there's moments of forgetting and dropping into fear, but
Mhm.
then we just remember that, we're all here, we're all one, and really, fear is just in the mind, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd say that to the best of my ability, I try to just stay in that love frequency as often as possible, and having 5 of the most gorgeous kittens really helps with that.
Well, that definitely will make you smile for sure.
I
Okay.
would love to hear you answer that question.
Hey. Okay, I will. And then I'll get to my last question. I will indulge you. Thank you. A playground for me truly is is waking up every day. Uh, home is not where I hang my hat. Home is where I hang my soul. And so wherever each day finds me, to wake up each day with that sweet air, a possibility blowing in through the screen door, the sense of wonder in each gaze, in each conversation, in each step that I take, uh, a curious sense of curiosity, and greeting each day as if I was back on Sided Drive with little Jimmy, walking our red bike out of the garage, meeting my neighborhood friends at the bottom of the hill and saying, okay, what are we doing today?
Mhm.
And yeah, and reconnecting to those beautiful moments, because we can do that
Mhm.
regardless of age. So
Mhm.
that's my playground every day.
Yeah, thank you. You know what? You just reminded me. I used to, when I was 9, 10, and 11, we lived in the highest populated point in Canada. And I
Mm.
used to walk 1.5 kilometers to a lake by myself, and I would just swim to the other side of the lake and back at 9, 10, and 11 by myself.
Wow.
Right? I love her.
So
Mhm.
that's great segue to my very last question.
Mhm.
And since this is the inaugural episode, you get to answer it before everyone else. This will probably be my go-to answer at the end of the show. I talk about in my book, there's a point in all our lives where we walk through that doorway to adulthood,
Mm.
some earlier than others. If you could go back to little Bliss right before you were going to walk through that doorway, uh, and what would you tell her, or perhaps what would she tell you
Mm.
as you
Mhm.
as you step into real world?
That's beautiful. It's interesting because I'm 48, and obviously I have gray hair and wrinkles, but a lot of people always say, "What's your secret?" And I kind of hesitate in writing it, because it doesn't sound very professional. But I feel that this is what I have said to myself about aging and age, and so I think it translates beautifully to this question. But I really have tried to stay as immature and irresponsible, um, and as spontaneous as possible, and to really just stay in that level of not taking life so seriously, and just really, like, jumping at every chance to have fun.
Mm.
I love to smile, I love to dance, and I love being surrounded by people and being happy, and I think that if we could all just be a little bit less mature, less responsible, and more spontaneous, we would definitely all have a little bit more fun.
I love that. And kudos for you for saying that, because we can still be professional, and we can still be of service, and we can still be a little bit irresponsible and spontaneous, and bring those
Immature.
absolutely right. So I love that. That's a
Thank
beautiful
you.
answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Mhm.
All right, everyone. What a ride. Thank you, Bliss. Amazing conversation today. I'm sure it'll be first of many with you. on your journey. And of course, we'll be in touch and keeping in touch. To anyone out there, again, Bliss Prema, she's can be found at blissprema.com, consciousevolver.com. They're linked. So one or the other will take you there. Will familiarize yourself with her, what she's about again, this course that we talked about, and for any of you out there looking to evolve, let's just say that, evolve into the next stage, that next groove on the record of life, seek out Bliss. She'll take you there. All right. Bliss, thank you for your time. I appreciate you. Appreciate your energy.
Yeah, you too, James. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. And for everyone out there, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Like, share, check out more episodes coming. And please go to my website, theherowithin.ca. Information about me, and of course my book, All In With Love, My Journey to the Hero Within, is a week old as of today, and it's available all over the world. And let's see if we can have everyone take a journey back to the younger selves. So thank you for tuning in. Mad love to you, Bliss. Mad love to everyone out there, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.